In this video, we are on page 131 of the reading text, and the rule here for now is pretty short. We are talking about a phrase called an appositive. And let me give you the sound spelling for this because this is a kind of an unusual word. So the sound spelling, remember we always break between double consonants. So we have a pause, a tiv. So we have a schwa, a, ah, I, silent E. Appositive, appositive. And here's the definition of an appositive. An appositive is a phrase and let's do a parentheses. I'll tell you what phrase means. A phrase is just a group of words. That explains. So an appositive is a phrase that explains a word or phrase written earlier. And I know this may not make sense just yet, but let's get the definition down and I will show you some examples. This is a statement. It's giving information, so we stop it with a full stop. An appositive is a phrase, and a phrase is a group of words that explains a word or phrase written earlier. So here's an example. If you need to pause your video, that's fine. Mrs. Barnes my high school teacher lives, and I'm skipping a line here, lives next door to me. This is telling information, so it is a statement. Mrs. Barnes, my high school teacher, lives next door to me. So here is the appositive. Okay. Mrs. Barnes, my high school teacher, lives next door to me. Let me read it again and see if you can figure out what I need to add. Mrs. Barnes, my high school teacher, lives next door to me. Do I want to put a full stop there? If I do, it's going to say Mrs. Barnes, my high school teacher lives next door to me. No. What we need to do is just slow down a little bit. Mrs. Barnes, my high school teacher, lives next door to me. Do you hear another pause in my voice? Mrs. Barnes, my high school teacher, lives next door to me. Do you hear it? Do you know where it goes? Here. So here is the thing about an appositive. You're going to need to punctuate it correctly. So this is what it says now after I put those commas in there. You'll hear that little pause, but it's not a full stop. Mrs. Barnes, my high school teacher, lives next door to me. We don't want a full stop. We just want to yield. We want to slow down a little bit. So here is the appositive. This whole thing right here, from comma to comma, is called the appositive. And you'll get good at looking for these. And I can't spell today. I don't know what I'm doing. You will get good at looking for these once you know what you're looking for, and if you learn to listen to that punctuation, you will find these a lot easier. Okay, here's another one. We'll do a few of these. Two more. I'm going to write this one and see if you can find the appositive. Francis Scott Key wrote our national anthem, the Star Spangled Banner. Ooh, that's a song. So what do we do with song titles? Little works. Get the quotation marks. Okay. And we put the punctuation inside the quotation. So we've got, here's the sentence. Francis Scott Key wrote our national anthem, the Star Spangled Banner. Do you see the appositive? This one's a little tougher. Francis Scott Key wrote our national anthem, the Star Spangled Banner. The appositive is this song because it is referring to the national anthem. It's explaining the national anthem phrase. So I need to put in the pause. Question is, do I need a second pause? Remember in the last sentence we said that this is our appositive from comma to comma. So there's a comma. Do I need a comma out here? The answer is no. You do not need a comma because you have the full stop. If you have that full stop, you don't have to worry about putting that second comma. But here is your appositive. It is explaining, describing the Star Spangled Banner. Okay. And let me go back up here. My high school teacher is describing whom? Miss Barnes. This is what it's linking back to. So appositives will always link back to something that's already been mentioned. Remember our definition. An appositive is a phrase that explains a word or phrase written earlier. Okay, here is one more. I'm not going to read this one because if I read it, you're going to hear the answer. So I just want to write this one and let you see if you can find the appositive. Okay. Jack Dempsey, our old gray tomcat, is 15 years old. Jack Dempsey, our old gray tomcat, is 15 years old. So the subject of this sentence is Jack Dempsey. Who is Jack Dempsey? need to explain that a little bit more. Is Jack Dempsey my brother? Is he my cousin? No, he's nothing of the sort. Jack Dempsey is our old gray tomcat. So Jack Dempsey is the appositive. And we need to, I'm sorry, Jack Dempsey is the subject. The appositive is our old gray tomcat. So we need to put those commas in there, because there's not a full stop after tomcat. So here's the appositive, comma to comma. And if I say to you our old gray tomcat, you're going to say, oh, Jack Dempsey. So that is referring us back to the name. One thing I want to ask you about, because we've covered this rule, is this okay? Or do I need to spell out the word 15? We can't start a sentence with a numeral, but this is not the beginning of a sentence. Remember, if it's 2 digits, it is okay. I can use the numeral. So always check those things, the rules that you've already learned. And here's the end mark. This is pretty impressive, a tomcat that's 15 years old. So I used an exclamation point. You could use a period, a full stop there, it doesn't matter, but you have to stop the sentence. That's the main thing. Okay, that is enough on appositives. We will be seeing some of these in our writing exercises, so watch for them. But that's all for now on this page.